Forktales, a podcast that feeds the food and beverage world. Forktales is brought to you by Pavone Group and Vigor, a branding and marketing agency for restaurant, beverage, and hospitality brands. Learn more at vigorbranding.com. If you love what we're serving up, please give Forktales a 5-star review on your podcast service of choice. Think of it as a tip for good service.
We're a very sales-driven company, so we have to, which every company should be, and it still absolutely amazes me how many companies do not operate that way. But when I say that, we really go down to what does our customer need and want. So you go to the Asian trade, you see those Peking ducks hanging, the beautiful Peking ducks hanging in 9th Street in Philadelphia. You need to make sure that skin is perfect every single time. So we have to pretty much start focusing on that from the minute that duck is harvested to feather removal to how that duck is weighed, and then how is it treated after it's USDA down the packaging. And really that's because if you have that nick in the skin, a cut in it, too many feathers, no one's going to want to buy that duck hanging in the window. So we need to make sure our stuff is perfect from the second that it is hatched all the way down to it's put in a bag or into the box.
The gaps are narrowing. Plant-based yogurt prices have been generally coming closer to dairy-based yogurt pricing. Nutritional profiles are getting better. The texture and taste and all those things are it's on a continuous improvement, and it continue to get better.
And what I'm seeing, Mexican food is very, very sexy right now.
Yep.
Obviously, everybody and their mother knows that, Siete was sold for, quadrillion dollars. There is a push to healthier Mexican food, high protein. I would say the only bad news in Mexican food, I think Tex-Mex is kind of dying out. I see some of the Tex-Mex restaurant chains kind of shutting down. I think that's become kind of passé. But I'm happy. I love being in Mexican food.
We could go both ways with that, right? You could really spice it up. And again,
Sure.
Generationally, nowadays spice is much more accepted. But when we started the business, it wasn't, right? And people always have that mindset that Indian food is spicy. So the education piece was really important to me.
But I get a lot of energy from the just hospitality side of it too. So like if I'm having a really rough time at work, which, happens time to time, right? When you're an entrepreneur, all the time. But, I'll go into the stores and just do table touches and talk to people. I mean, I still get a lot of energy from, the fact that we have created these places that are the, backdrops for people's lives, right? I mean, this is where their memories are created, where they celebrate things. And that to me is still something that I really cherish and get a lot of energy from.
Yeah, you learn about people. I mean, so our restaurant was located in Detroit, in the inner city, in the red light district, the bad part of Detroit.
Yeah.
If you can understand, there's actually a bad part about Detroit. But, like the city, it was like divided. So like during the day, we'd have all these white collar professionals who came from downtown or came from the medical center. But in the evening, we'd get the local, pimps, prostitutes, drug dealers. So I got a really front row vantage to see the whole city, everybody from the mayor, right, to Oscar-winning actors that would come in, to the Jewish family that came every Sunday. It's like, you really, really got to see the whole city of Detroit, and the idea of serving people and working in food service. I mean, I feel like it's just the greatest upbringing. I mean, because it really teach you how to be a better person, I guess.
Yeah. What advice do you have for like chefs or home cooks who are intimidated by making it?
Don't try too hard. It's simpler the better from the ingredients that you use. That duck, and I mean, you could say this for a lot of proteins or meats out there, is simpler the better on everything. It's natural flavor and enjoy it. You have to experiment and try it.
I think I ultimately arrived at I feel like my purpose is to make my hometown a better place to live. I just think that's what I'm supposed to be doing with my life. And that clarity really helps, I think, give direction and meaning to some of these things that I do that, aren't as profitable as building 200 of one single concept, right? I mean,
sure.
But see, mentally for me, it's figuring out, like, okay, what am I, how does this, whatever we're going to build, how does that tie into what I actually think what I should be spending my time on? So
you test a lot of recipes and dishes, I'm sure, as part of your R&D. Who in your family, like who's got this final say? Is it you that has the final say? I want to picture a grandma somewhere that says, no, this isn't good.
My mom's very involved. Obviously, Chef Harry's involved, but my mom is not. At the end of the day, she doesn't like you joke the grandma thing. It's like she doesn't have a selfish bone in her body. Like it's all about wanting success for the family business. It's not like she's thinking anything in general, right?
Right.
So she'll clearly give you the feedback, whether it's good or bad, right? And sometimes they have to but mom, this, or but mom and that, I joke about it. It was on a podcast last week. I said the same thing, but my mom would have it if she could. She'd have us squeezing lemons for all the rather than buying pre-made lemon juice, right? And it had to get to a stage. Okay, so we have to have this conversation, Mom. We can't. We have to
just can't do that. Yeah.
I wanted to have fun with this book, right? So in addition to laying it out like a menu, the opening line is "Welcome to Chung's." Is for here to go. So that's what my dad would say to anybody that came in. And that's sort of the theme of the book, for here to go. Do I stay in Detroit or do I leave? So I brought in that metaphor. And the last line in the book is, thank you, come again. Right? Because I really want the reader to read the book as if they're going into a Chinese restaurant and having a meal. And so that's why some of the stories are sweet, some are savory, some are salty, some are spicy. You get all these different flavors.
I'm not the future consumer, necessarily, right? Like I look at people like my son. Like my son, I always remember, I'll tell you a quick story. I went into a coffee shop to meet an investor in Seattle. And it was probably about 9 a.m. And this place was bustling. I mean, packed. And, looked around the room real quickly. And I was the oldest guy in that room by 20 years, at least 20 years. And I went to the barista, he's all tattooed up with earrings, and I get a coffee and I like a coffee with a little bit of half and half, whatever. So I get a coffee with a little bit of room in there. I go over to the half and half station, and there's literally 9 canisters, 9 of those stainless steel canisters. And I pick up the first one, hemp, oat, cashew, almond. I go through all 9. No half and half, no dairy half and half. And I like oat creamer or dairy half and half. Kind of depends on the morning and my mood.
Right.
And that morning I felt like dairy half and half. So I go out to the barista. I said, hey, you guys happen to have any dairy half and half? And he looks at me and he looks over and he goes, you're the first one to ask for that today. And he hands me the canister from the fridge. And that's where I think this is going.
You can be a small company and still be very successful, very profitable, and just live a good life, man. I always run into these entrepreneurs and like, oh, I want to be $100 million company. And you ask them, why do you want to be 100 million? It's like, well, everybody wants to be 100 million. Like, that's the natural order of things. And I'm like, bro, just be a $20 million company, have plenty of work-life balance, be super profitable, take your vacations and make it last, So that's what we're focused on right now.